Debutants last year lost all 4. Namibia, this is their 3rd tournament and they still await their first win. So barring a draw, someone's going to get on the scoreboard with a win for the first time today. It's been a very tough pool, of course, with France, Argentina and Ireland still battling it out for those quarter-final places. Georgia and Namibia, well, keeping up the bottom 2 out of the 5 in the pool. But don't underestimate the importance of this occasion to the Lelos, the Georgians and the Sea Eagles of Namibia. Namibia, the lowest of all the teams in world rankings here, against Georgia, who are about some places above them in 17th place. And that's how it stands. Well, you can see Namibia there, farewell, with 3 defeats. Georgia still have France to come, and can't expect that to be a win, but you never know in this tournament. They will look for this as their target success. A country of just 5 million people and only about 3,000 players of rugby. Namibia, vast of course in acreage, nearly 1 million acres, or 1 million kilometers squared anyway, and a population of 2 million, and only a matter of about 13,000 players to pick from. So 2 of the real minnows here. But what sort of game, Simon Mannix, do you think we can expect, particularly as we can see it's a very wet day here?
Well, conditions will dictate an awful lot here this evening. However, what we can expect and what we should expect is 2 very spirited teams. They've shown it so far in this Rugby World Cup 2007. The Georgians, who were fantastic against the Irish, nearly pulling off the shock result of the tournament when they had a try denied in the 77th minute. Look for the Georgians to be very, very fired up for this game. The Namibians, well, this is the game they've targeted in the pool as well to win. So expect a titanic struggle. Unfortunately, the conditions are going to have a major part to play. It's which side can handle those the best. That'll determine the winner in this match today.
Well, here are the Namibians, that land of Kalahari Desert, Etosha swamps, Okavango swamps, but they're not used to playing in the wet, and this may be a real problem for them today. It's a wild world, and of course the teams based largely in Windhoek, the capital. A few players, of course, also playing in South Africa. The 12 of the 30-man squad play their rugby there. It's such a small country in rugby terms, but a very proud one.
But like I said, this is rugby and you have to adapt quickly.
Whichever nickname
and
you like.
I think we structure another game plan. I hope that it will work on the day. If it's not half-time, we will change. But we hope that we don't have to change.
Well, conditions not as he would wish. There's the Namibian side. They've reverted to what you might call their first team, with the 3-quarter line, aided by Cornelie Paul, who comes into the centre, a veteran of the last World Cup, and a powerful front row, very solid front row, with Kees Lensing, the captain, Hugo Horn and Marius Visser. Lensing, of course, who's had a spell with the Natal Sharks and is one of the 3 players in the side who have played in a previous World Cup: Senecal, Lensing and fly half Schroeder. But well, they look to the heavens. The ground will be soft, but it's still in excellent condition. I was up there for the here for the England-USA game as well, and it really is a lovely stadium, and each of the venues has provided the most perfect rugby conditions on the playing surface.
Well, I don't think the conditions will really dampen the spirit of this Namibian side. They've been as competitive as they can. It's the problem, as we've seen with these second-tier teams, it's just the consistency in their execution with the ball in hand. It's the unforced errors. They're the things that have costed these sides so far during this World Cup. Tonight, conditions are going to be tough. I know I'm going on about it, these conditions, but as we see the rain coming down here, it really is, these balls that can become very slippery, and it will be difficult handling conditions. I imagine we're going to see an awful lot of kicking from both sides early in this game.
Well, probably, and unsurprising really that this is probably the smallest crowd of any ground we've had. Georgians and Namibians haven't got great tourist supporters. Here are the Georgians then, their arrival a short while ago, and well, we know what they will try and do. They'll dominate the forward battle as they did against Ireland. That remarkable performance when they scored 2 tries, so nearly scored a winning try as well, but went down 14 points to 10 in the end. Gave Argentina a good battle too in their opening game, and I think they'll be confident of victory here based on, particularly in these conditions, a very powerful pack. And the man who is just looking ahead to it for us is the president of the Georgian delegation, George Nisoradze.
You know, for us, this match is most important on this tournament because we need victory. With a full respect to very, very good Namibian team, we are going to fight and win today.
Respect for the opposition and, well, a tough afternoon ahead, but the likes of Shvelidze, Giorgadze, Zirikashvili, they've of course lost their, very much their talisman in their captain injured in this tournament, Zed Ziganidze, the second row, but I think it's this front 5 of the Lelos that's going to dominate. What's it like actually right down on the pitch, Robbie?
Well, Nigel, very damp, and the stadium's not really full up just yet. They've given a lot of tickets away to children at school, so there's a lot of children just behind one of the stands, which is great, of course, because they're learning about the game as well. You know, up here in northeast France, and well, the conditions, it's a very greasy pitch. I had a little walk out on there onto the pitch earlier on. Nigel, I can tell you it's very greasy, and there's been a lot of rain that's fallen since, so you know, as you've been talking about the conditions are very much, you know, in favour of Georgia. The atmosphere, well, we'll just hopefully, you know, the fans will get behind the two teams and enjoy a spectacle, but you know, at the moment it's there's probably about 25,000-30,000 fans out here. They're still very keen. There's a lot of umbrellas up here, but you know, it's they're here, and you know, it's the World Cup, so hopefully they'll be motivated just as much as the two teams who are looking for their first win.
Bear in mind, of course, this is a relatively new force in rugby. You can see the rain is self-evident. Very, very slight breeze, nothing too much to worry about. But Georgia, formerly part of the Union of Soviet Socialist Republics, didn't play their first international as a Georgian national side until they met Zimbabwe in 1989, joined the IRB in 1992. So it's all been relatively new. And this side, well, as I said, most of the players gaining their top experience in France. 26 out of the squad of 30, or 31 as it is now. And they have I don't know what you call a clutch of tractors, but they describe them as a bunch of tractors up front, scrummaging very much their strength. And 7 players who have had some French top championship experience. So the referee, Steve Walsh from New Zealand, one of the younger members of that clan, and Malcolm Changleng from Scotland, Paul Marks, Australia, the 2 touch judges. Let's hope we don't have to go too often to Federico Cuesta from Argentina for his video verdict. And, well, I think there'll be a contrast in styles, as we said, and repeat again, because Namibia will try and keep it away from the set piece as much as possible, won't they?
They'll certainly want to keep it away, but unfortunately conditions are going to dictate that there will be a lot of set piece play tonight. There will be handling errors, and I think this weather does play into the hands of the Georgian. As you said, the experience their players have got from the Championship of France, many have played, or several have played, as you say, in the top 14, Pro D2, and also players who've played right down through Federal 1, Federal 2 in France. They'll be well used to these conditions. Namibia, they'd obviously prefer a nice open ground. They like to move the ball around the Namibian side. We've seen that already in this competition, and they do play with a really good spirit, encouraging to see that they're prepared to try and go out and play and impose their own style on the game. Tonight is going to be difficult. They're going to have to be more disciplined with the ball. But the Georgians, you talk about the group of tractors, well, this is set up for them today. I'm sure they'll be wanting to climb into it very early on.
So Namibia, problems very evident. They're much lighter side in terms of experience as well as physical stature. Namibians who first played rugby in Windhoek back in 1916, but of course, like Georgia, are relatively new to independence, and they played the first time as a Namibian national side in 1990. And are still looking for, like Georgia, that first World Cup win. Had a long qualifying process back in May 2006, their most recent, yes it was, May 2006, they started out on their qualifying by beating Kenya and Tunisia, and finally qualified by beating Morocco home and away. But they had a big shake-up in their rugby union because their previous coach, Johan Venter, resigned after Namibia lost in a appalling display against Uganda in June, and in comes Hakis Husselman, who was a player in the last World Cup. So he took over literally as recently as June as coach. So he's done a good job, really. He gave Ireland a good contest, creditable performance indeed against France and Argentina, though inevitably hugely outgunned. What can they do today against these men who are here to win what they think will be their success in this pool, and perhaps make France look to their laurels on the final game for them this weekend?
Well, the Georgians coming into this game as something which, in a Rugby World Cup, coming in as favourites. How are they going to handle that pressure? I think that's a big question, isn't it? They've been the underdog in every game so far. Today they're expected to win. They have to stand up and show that they are capable of doing that.
It's been a long introduction to rugby in Georgia. It was a game of a similar kind played in the old Georgian villages. Opposing villages would take a ball to and from and battle their way in what you might have called a very sort of early form of rugby played between villages, and it was that traditional game of Lelos which gave them their nickname. Now the anthems. Taviso Piela for Georgia. And powerfully sung, a lot of emotion there, a lot of pride in the jersey. And now for the country with the smallest number of players in the Rugby World Cup, Namibia, land of the brave. So all is set, and a pairing I think at half-back that we should perhaps point out is that of the Georgians. A very, very good scrum half in Irakli Abusaridze, who captains the side today. As we look, in fact, first of all at that Namibian squad again, and it's a question there of Kazombiazi, who's played in every game, and Senegal. Can they withstand the might? quite sure what is just happening down here.
Oh, they're having to remove the protection of the chest plate that the players, it was quite obvious when they came out, they had the protection on, they're taking that out. Players, of course, allowed to wear the protection under their gear, but it has to conform to the regulations, and the referee has asked them to take in that front protection out, that chest plate. But that's, really should have been cleared before the game by the referees and the third, fourth, fifth officials. I don't know how many officials we got. That really should have been cleared up in the changing room.
Thank you. Quick word then about this Georgian halfback pairing, Abu Saridzi and Kashvili. I've been very impressed. Kashvili, who was the youngest of all players in the last World Cup, and plays a key role now for Georgia. All set then. All about playing the conditions. And Namibia perhaps having to play fast and loose and avoid contact, but not initially, can they? As Georgia follow off their own start. And Steve Walsh says over the top.
Straight away from the kickoff, you see the Namibians, they wanted to shift that ball, didn't they? And it was a good long kick there, but they took it into the ruck area, and the offence has occurred straight away. So a good chance for them to clear their lines and get an early touch on the ball for the hooker for the first throw to the line out.
Morne Schroeder, long way to touch. It's done well. Well, the flag didn't go up. It's kept in play, in fact. This is Kashvili. Forced to go lateral, big hit, but still the ball offloaded well to Kashvili. Powerful prop, just 23 and 19 stone. Awkward one for Heine Bock. He's under pressure here, but this is what they want to try and do, stretch Georgia, who come in with the big hits, but that's going to be off the Georgian player. It'll be Namibia to throw in.
Well, an interesting start here. We had the clearance touch, and we've seen already a couple of good tackles come in. The Georgians kept the ball in very well, and here we have an interesting piece of play here. He let it come in off his chest. He's just given the throw away to Namibia.
Hugo Horn, one of the locals, that's to say, plays his rugby in Namibia itself for the Bulldogs club in Windhoek. Well, they're crabbing sideways cross-field, Namibia. But quite well organised here and making good ground.
Very well played. They did. They went 10 metres sideways, didn't they? But they held their composure and eventually got the drive going forward, and pulling down there, the referee Walsh has penalised them for.
Very heartening effort that by the Namibian pack.
Sort of decision time, I think, in these conditions. That's 50 metres out. That's a long way out for the goal kicker, and I think a good option here. They'll be happy with their first one, but you've got a fine touch. He's done well here. It's a very good kick.
So Robbie down on the deck, just looking round. Who is getting the most support here?
Well, I'm actually just positioned in front of the press stand, and I can tell you just directly behind me there's a whole bunch of Georgians that they're wearing the flags. They've got they've got balloons that are red and white balloons. I mean, it's I think there are more Georgians rather than Namibians, to be perfectly honest.
Yeah, I got that impression. Here come Namibia then. Jacques Berger plays his rugby for Griquas. It's Griquas and West as it used to be known. This is good. Not intimidated here, pity though, possession loss.
This is just the mistakes, isn't it? That we alluded to earlier, that they're really going to have to concentrate and really get their tighten up their techniques here in these situations. They had good control there. The structure was excellent going forward, and then just trying to shift the ball back in the rolling ball situation. Falls around, lost forward. First scrum.
Well, a couple of big fellas in the Namibian pack that don't quite go along with the impression that those statistics of different weights of the pack give, because it's just two massive props in Lensing and Visser, the rest much smaller than their Georgian counterparts, and probably less well toned in muscular terms. They just haven't had much time for preparation outside their own
that's
their
exactly
own
it, isn't it? That's dead right. It's as we just see a lovely clearance kick from Kashvili there, and as you said, he has impressed in this World Cup, hasn't he? He's a guy who started his rugby in what was the equivalent of the 4th division in France, and now he's up playing in the 2nd division. So he's a very good operator at number 10.
A lot on his plate today. May find his pack later on wilting. I sense they might, and might be on the retreat, but he's a canny operator. And here's his partner, Abusaridze. He's played a hatful of opposite number, Abusaridze. Fantonda of Namibia, off he goes.
This is good play here, just keeping going the same way at the moment. They're protecting the ball nicely.
Oh, he's in a bit of trouble here, Jacques Burger. He let his fist fly.
He came into that ruck area trying to clean out. He had elbows coming in there right in front of the referee.
The player, okay? You punched the player. No foul play in this game. Back 10.
Oh, he's lucky. He did. It was quite aggressive and abrasive, and could easily have been a yellow card.
Well, it could have been.
Further in the game, probably would have been.
We're seeing a lot of this, aren't we, at the breakdown? The team's been very, very aggressive, coming in to clean out guys standing either side of the ball, if you like. And they really, some of them, the referees have let go. That one right in front of referee Walsh's, we may see it here. So he's coming in there. Yeah, there's a big swinging arm that he's come in with there, and well, it's the reaction as well that can be penalised at times. So I think they'll be wise to calm things down very early here.
Yeah, he was lucky to get a warning. So we're in Lens, just 2-3 hours north of Paris, depends which way you travel, of course, but the public transport system here has been a joy. Here's a big burst up the middle through Irakli Yogadze. Here's Abusaridze. Set to use his back row, but they've come round on the fringes and are offside, Namibia. It's going to be a penalty, kickable chance.
Well, Abusaridze, the captain there, the Namibians tried to drag him into the maul, which of course is not allowed. He's not part of the maul. You cannot drag players into it. As we might see, this is the initial bust here from Gilles Godadze. He did very well there. He came on that straight line and often spoken about the most dangerous guy is the guy who hits the line straight, and he did well there. This is a first opportunity for Kirikishvili, and he has kicked well in this competition.
A couple of penalties and a conversion. Got early experience of the maelstrom of World Cup rugby when he was just 19 here in the World Cup scene 4 years ago. Just a reminder that it's still tipping down. Doesn't help, but this would be a big confidence booster at the start. Just 7 minutes on the clock for Georgia. Kirikishvili secure, very good.
That's a well-struck penalty from Kirikishvili, and that's very important to the Georgians to get onto the board early. Got to dominate field position in conditions such as this. We see the player taking out in the air. That really should have been penalised, well, could have been penalised as well. You're not allowed, of course, to touch the player in the at any stage.
Straight out.
Screwed off the inside of the foot, that one. You know, we're talking about the conditions again, as Robbie mentioned earlier. Down the pitch is starting to get heavy. It will drain very well. As we have said, the stadiums here in France, excellent playing surfaces, but with this amount of rain, and it becomes difficult to drop kick the ball. The ball just doesn't come back up to you the same way it would on a dry surface. So these things, you know, the techniques have got to be good. The techniques, if the techniques are sound, not really a problem, but as we say, with these amateurs, they just don't have the same preparation time. They have the same practice times as the full-time professionals.
Abusaridze waits as the referee steps in.
Okay.
Might be slightly confusing for the Namibians with the blue-shirted referee. And there's a lot of blue on their strip as well. Big drive. Georgi Kayadze. Abusaridze again leaves it for the big men in front, set up by Giogadze. the way they like to play it. This is the way they created many holes in Ireland's defence and sent them reeling backwards. It's a lot. I thought for a minute he's going to try and drop a goal. He's put up the up and under. Well, giveaway of possession, really. But understandable, these conditions. Fantonda. Schroeder. Urjukashvili.
It's a good kick.
Difficult one. Fantonda claimed it in the end.
And then the accidental offside there as he ran into his own man.
Quickly taken by Abusaridze. Referee says not ready.
I think he's called it accidentally and wants to scrum it down. Again, there's going to be a language problem out here for referee Walsh tonight, isn't it, with the Georgians? I think most of them will be speaking French, that's certain. I'm not sure how good referee Walsh's French is.
Again using Chikayadze. Well, I think it was a bit of a shock to Gorgodze, the little flip back pass. Didn't go forwards though. Abusaridze and on to Kvirashvili, players offside. Do you know what I mean about the referee? I mean, slightly confusing for the spectators. I hope it's not so difficult for the players.
No, it certainly is, and there's been a lot of talk, hasn't there, following the All Black
Scotland
game. The All Grey.
The All Grey Scotland-New Zealand game.
Yeah, definitely. That was a tough game for everybody involved in that, with the clash of the shirts and things like that shouldn't be allowed to happen. I'm sure the referees
on television, which I saw it on.
Yeah,
it was at times impossible to tell, except as someone said, the people scoring you knew were New Zealand.
Makes a change, doesn't it?
Early thoughts, Robbie?
Yeah, it's a question of keeping ball in hand. Just hammering into the opposition. You just get the impression it's going to turn into a soap bar, and as soon as you make mistakes, you lose possession, and the other team will exploit. I mean, we're only 11 minutes into the game, Nigel, but already we've seen a couple of errors, and discipline's going to be quite important for this match as well.
Well, this is the way Namibia want to play it, fast and loose, putting pressure on here, little chips through over the backs, but brave counter-attack, good running, and that was by the fullback Urjukashvili again. That's the man with the Maori sidestep. Gorodzi, Shvelidze, the prop forward. And the Maori sidestep, of course, is where you just run straight forward into whoever happens to be in your path. Good clearance. Sensible.
Good build-up play by the Namibians, though. The option to put it in behind them and put it on the ground. That's the most difficult one in these conditions for a fullback to gather in there, though, and saying that Urjukashvili did superbly well there and set up, allowed Kvirashvili to clear the lines nicely. But it's put it in behind them, turn them round, the ball on the ground, difficult to control, certainly, here tonight.
Namibian ball, untidy deflection, not the scrum half protection there. Abusaridze, forward pass, not seen. Oh, what a great little chip through.
Wow, great kick. I think it was the third option that Abusaridze was actually looking for, wasn't it? He turned to go the blind side. He had referee Walsh outside him. He wasn't going to use him. Turned back. Kvirashvili was very flat. It was a marginal line ball, but he put in that beautiful left foot again, and he's settled very well into this game, hasn't he?
Very well. Here's Hugo Horn then. Again, pressure early on. Deep inside the Namibian 22, 13 minutes on the clock. 3-0 if you just joined us. The penalty goal to Georgia. Oh, and marked at the back is Datunashvili. And bursting through, just saved by the whistle on Namibia as Georgia come through.
Well, the referee
picking the ball up in the ruck.
The referee called it as a ruck there, and that, of course, unable to use your hands in there, but
close call.
Very close call. It looked to me just players on the ground. They didn't look to be the real ruck formation. We've got a sliced ball here into the centre of play. Oh dear.
Well, the errors. Skin in. The winger with the knock on. Well, I think Namibia were fortunate there in that earlier incident. Well, he's got a lot of strapping already.
Well, we see the fault, the Namibians with the line out, the throw, overthrow, and straight, and the Georgians bursting through there. And then now we see the clearance kick not finding touch, but then we see another handling fault. It's going to be that sort of game tonight. We knew that beforehand, and we've had confirmation in the first 14 minutes. Very, very difficult conditions out there.
It's a lot of weight on that knee, 130 kilos. And the biggest man on the pitch in terms of sheer weight.
Nigel, I was actually quite happy to see that they were using the match balls during their run out just before kickoff, unlike for the Scotland-New Zealand game, you know, when they didn't use the same balls that they were actually going to use during the match.
Right, good observation. Because there have been some comments about the balls being used. They're quite light.
Yeah, certainly they. Well, it's always, I think if a goal kicker misses something, he's going to have something to say, isn't he? But certainly it would appear when we've had so many of the top, these are the best goal kickers in the world, and a few guys have struggled with them, and there have been comments out of the New Zealand camp, out of the English as well.
Yeah, and Ireland too. And,
yes.
Yeah, you've had Carton down to below 70%, which is way down for him.
No, certainly. There's you can just see the flight of the ball. It doesn't fly. It doesn't. When it is at life, it doesn't hold its true line. So there's the Namibians trying to run it out of their own territory, but they're under great pressure from the Georgians. Georgians looking very organised early in this game.
You can see what the Namibians are trying to do, but it's a very risky policy. They're just trying to keep it fluid. But that's a good clearance.
As we just see here, coming back, Kirikashvili not able to affect the tackle there. But they're under pressure the whole time at the moment, the Namibians, and I think if the more hands it goes through, the more chances there are of mistakes in their own area, and the Georgians will be ready to capitalise on that.
Giorgadze, this is his 50th appearance for Georgia today, the hooker. A few old hands in the side, and much more experience. Tricky one for Heine Bock again. Not sure that was intended. Certainly a gift for Kirikashvili, who's trying a long drop goal from the halfway. It's going to be short, but, well, a fair effort.
Another mistouch again.
Giveaway. Kirikashvili. Oh, it's clever. Needs someone to pass to, or does he? Eventually collared from behind by Berger, but it's Abusaridze. Namibia on the back foot, darting, diving. Kirikashvili, the fly half. Now Abusaridze, quicker ball this time. Match Canelli, not the best pass from the scrum half actually. Lost the momentum of the move, but they're in front of the posts. Abusaridze again. Well, a little pop pass that time. Kasharava, no weight behind the pass, needed pace on it. Still there.
They look to restructure here, try to slow it down. They've got to stay on their feet here. Going straight to ground will make things much easier for the Namibians. They have to stay up here, got to stay on their feet and restructure a maul situation.
All the impetus has gone out of the move, and well checked there immediately though, with Labadze planted back. Now Datunashvili edging forward. Remember this period at the end of the Ireland game, this kind of style so nearly brought them victory. At the moment, oh, it's a chip through, it's gone too far, it's over the dead ball line. Well, I think it was one of those occasions where the pack said, right, we're going to take it on now, but they lost all momentum, didn't they, from that earlier move, where I reckon if they'd just kept spinning it, they were going to outflank Namibia.
Definitely, they had numbers there, they had numbers stacked out both left and right. It was obvious, as we see here, taking a huge tackle there. There's Masha Canelli there. Knocked back. Namibian defence solid though. Georgians asking a lot of questions here early. Here's a charge down from the 22. Regathered nicely.
Living dangerously, those unforced errors which are creating trouble for Namibia. I have to say, I do keep seeing this extra player.
Yes, definitely.
Just happens to have a whistle. Oof.
Good work, good pressure right on the kick there, putting pressure on Schrader to clear that one away, but then we had hands in the ruck, and again it comes back to the discipline. Just having confidence in what you're able to do and doing it properly, and there's just no need to force it down in this area. But not a great kick by Schrader to clear the lines there, so Namibians still under pressure. I think the communication problems already is with referee Walsh. He called ruck, and the Georgians, maybe they're not quite understanding, because I just think that was a foolish penalty. And when most players are out on the field, they understand the referee calling ruck. They know not to go in with their hands. So I think it's a bit of a problem here tonight for the Georgian side.
Well, an early injury. Mamuka Gorgodze, the Georgian second row, and Victor Didebulidze comes on.
Just overthrown again by the Namibians. It's another line-out win for the Georgians.
The replacement player, by the way, a real veteran of the piece. This is his 16th season of international rugby. The second row replacement who's come on here, and he's 36 now. That's the winger, Mashkanelli from Mont-de-Marsan, the number 8. From Massy, that's a junior club around here, isn't it?
Yes, certainly is. Plays in the third division.
Yeah.
Plays in the third division, but a club with huge ambitions.
Chikayadze, the number 8, but it's Namibia. Not the elements they would have wished for. Well, rain is something they're not used to on a rugby afternoon.
Nigel, they've also got a little bit of winds now as the gusts are starting to hit the Felix Bullat Stadium, so kicking is going to be really, really difficult today as well. Well, from now on.
Kirikashvili, up goes the Gary Owen again. Scrum half, Vantonda.
They got numbers back there, they've done well here.
Should have put it behind the winger. Knock on by Mashkanelli.
That's the technique, isn't it? It's the technique. He had his body facing forward there. In that sort of situation with the ball like this, you want to just turn your body that little bit, just side on, as you see here, straight on to the ball, and dear, oh dear. Just side on, and then if the ball does, if you do drop it, it will go backwards. But there you are, front on, straight away. It goes straight through, knock on.
Quarter of the game gone. Penalty goal to 0. For these two sides, such ambitions of coming away from this World Cup with a first ever win in the tournament. He was being scragged by his own players there. Drop forward, then Singh, the captain. It's a bit laboured, and look how quickly Georgia can snuff it out. Quick ball they need. In on the wrong side.
Okay. Yep.
Well, difficult for the Namibian backline, trying to shift the ball. They haven't got any forward momentum, and they're just shoveling it along. It's almost like giving away the responsibility of the ball. Really feel that Schroeder's got to step up here with his halfback partner Vantonda and really try and step their mark on this one. The little kicks in behind and just keep turning them. We've seen the Georgians make mistakes. We see here he came round from an offside position to play that ball, and referee Walsh was right in calling that one up. He came in from the same direction as the Georgian players were coming. He had to get right back around the ball before he could come back onto it.
Gilgadze taken by Urushadze. Well, they'll graft away all day, this Georgian pack. I sense they'll wear down Namibia, but at the moment they're not dominating as they would have hoped.
Well, it's just the mistakes, isn't it? It's the mistakes from both sides of the ball at the moment, and It is going to be that match. We're not going to see a pretty game of flowing rugby here tonight. It's the side, as we said, that can make the less mistakes should come out on top. And at the moment, it's 50-50 in the mistakes department.
Pulling out, number 3. Stay down.
Popped out. Stay in.
Stay down, number
Penalty
3.
against Marius
out.
Visser.
Difficult to stay in with the amount of pressure coming through, though, isn't it? It's certainly not a department, the front row, where I'd care to spend my time, but
no, not in this one.
no, definitely it's pressure coming on. Really, the only way to go is up, and gives the kicking opportunity again to Kirikashvili, and the way he struck his first one, I'd say he's very confident with the boot again, and he looked very good in his warm-up today when he was kicking earlier.
I think it was the voice of the referee, wasn't it?
Yes,
It's all happening today. Well, not exactly. This for a 6-0 lead then. Had the penalty in the 2 earlier games against Argentina and Ireland. Under pressure too then, and kept his nerve very well. Disgruntled Jacques Berger waits. Kirikashvili. Oh, it's curling away too much.
Well, that's a let off for the Namibians. Need to get a good 22 restart here. We don't want them to be charged down again, do they? They've got to really try and clear their areas. It's about playing down in the opposition half. Cannot stress enough how difficult these conditions are here tonight for these players. I think we put top-tier nations out there, they'd find these conditions very difficult also, wouldn't they?
Quite true. Yeah, it's a shame for them. Been such terrific conditions and weather virtually, well, throughout the first couple of weeks. Didn't see a drop of rain. Good cleaning up by Jacques Berger there. Now a penalty.
Oh dear, again. Not staying on their feet.
No. Even harder in these conditions, but there's Jacques Berger there from the Griquas. This man who's worked hard, he's played full match every game.
They don't have the same resources, do they, in terms of playing numbers, who they can bring in. It's you know, it's not the 30 players that they can use all of them. It's very difficult for sides such as Namibia, Georgia as well. Very difficult.
They're very limited resources, and where they have got this clutch of players who play within South Africa, they didn't get the players back to join the team gathering until the middle of August. Coach didn't arrive till June, so little has gone well for Namibia in the build-up. But they've performed creditably and with a huge spirit, and so far in this game, but already signs look a little bit ominous, particularly on a day like this when the forward domination is going to be the key. So Kirikashvili, quick chance to make amends for the earlier miss. He's compensated satisfactorily. Well kicked. 6-0.
After 25 minutes, 6-0 to the Georgians, and they're deserving of that lead so far. They've made, haven't tried to play the rugby in their own half. When they have been in their territory, they've kicked sensibly. Kirikashvili and his halfback partner, Abisaridze, have done very well in the territorial battle so far. The Namibians here, they've really got to try and get their foot into this game, because at the moment they're chasing it.
That's a knock-on advantage, nearly fly hack through. See how tricky the ball is to handle, and scudding one like that on the ground. Quite an effective restart, really. Found the gap and gave Skinnin, I think it was, trouble again.
I think if they get pressure through on those sorts of kicks, anything can happen, can't it? So
yeah. Pressure there too on Kirikashvili, and he's found a good touch.
Fans are trying to keep themselves warm with this spectacle tonight. It's quite difficult because obviously, you know, there's it's not a really flowing, you know, game of rugby, but
right,
they're doing whatever they possibly can. I can tell you that. There's a few horns behind me and a few Georgian fans who are jumping around, but well, I think they're waiting for their team to score a try, then they'll be able to erupt.
True enough.
So technical offences are really hurting the Namibians at the moment. That time they were pinged for closing the gap in the line out. And again, it's back in the hands of the Georgians.
Poor kick that time. Georgia. Ushadzi stood his ground. Straight out, was it, or not? No, it's been allowed for Abusaridze. Well, this is the game they should be playing, surely, isn't it? Georgia should be playing it down in that 22 and take it from the line out, charge through the line out, set up the pack, driving mauls.
So without a doubt, there's no... there should be no need, really, Kirikashvili and Abusaridze to give the ball out to the centres tonight, really, you know, to be quite honest, unless they're in the attacking quarter, because it's just a case of dominating field position.
Penalty given, quickly taken, Fantonda. Well, they've got to do things, they've got to take risks, they've got to do snap things. The orthodox won't suffice. Actually, no impact there whatsoever as Senecal set it up.
That's a better kick.
It's a good one. Skinning again, in trouble again. And still in play, back goes Ushadzi. This is where Namibia can scramble and scrap. Well, they're in trouble more, and there's a penalty, not release. That's the way to play it for Namibia, isn't it?
Exactly, Nigel, exactly. Just put it in behind him, get the ball on the ground, try and force errors, and flood through with pressure. Lots of pressure on him. That's a second handling mistake from the winger over there, Shikinen, tonight. So that's obviously a weak spot. Maybe they can look to exploit that with some good kicking into his box there, nail it back into his area, and put pressure on him. We see the penalty for not releasing the ball on the ground there.
Good kick this was by Schroeder.
It was a good chase though, wasn't it? He had 2, 3, 4 numbers there. Numbers coming through, then they're able to flood through. If this ball spills out, the ball, you'd easily be talking about a 7-pointer for Namibia. That's what they've got to do. Up and pressure all night long.
Well, that man's nerves must be jangling a bit now. He's had 2 like it, he knows it. And it hurts.
It's funny, Nigel, because Haki Husselman, he did say that he'd have to change his game plan because of the wet conditions just before the match. And for the first 28 minutes, we haven't seen that change, that new plan until now. Yeah. And obviously, they're going to get points from this, tactic, which is obviously going to pay off. So, you think that the players, they know exactly what they've got to do now.
Well, Robbie's got a lot of confidence that he's going to knock this one over. It's not an easy kick in these conditions, I don't think, Robbie.
You're very true there, Simon.
He's only ever kicked 1 penalty before for Namibia. But this will be a happy day if he gets it. He hasn't. A lot of weight on this young man. He's, he got a penalty in the last game against Argentina, and those were the first points he'd ever scored for Namibia. And I'm afraid that's how it stays. Looking for help from above. Was just following the flight of the ball. Led off for Georgia. Deliberately hammered, bang down the middle, but that's in a way what Namibia want. Off from the fullback to Nieuwenhuis, man who scored a try against Ireland. Good step through by Tinus du Plessis. Fantonda. Now the back row men again. That's Berger.
Solid defence from the Georgians though, wasn't it? They're right there to meet, and they've turned it over as well.
It's good play. That's quite a clever kick too. Namibia up in attack. Well, I'm not sure about that one. Well offloaded. Good play by Kirikashvili, and now it's Mashkaneli.
Slow it down, get it set up again.
That's what they love to do. Abusaridze. This is Kirikashvili. Into the little box, the chase for Mashkaneli. Slippery surface, all sorts of bother here for Namibia on their own line.
He's done very well there. Under a lot of pressure there.
Berger leaves it.
Well cleared.
That ball nearly landed on my umbrella.
See here, just slipping. He held his composure though, didn't he, Van Tonde, going down there? He did very well to get that, and the Namibians working hard though. They're getting the numbers back there. I'd like to see a little bit more urgency from the Georgians with their kick chase. From the long 22 from Kirikashvili, they're exposed down the right-hand side with a pretty poor chase up down that right-hand side. Seems to me that it's coming in ones and twos at the moment.
Gaxvent Giogadze throws. Untidy setback from the line out. Neat little chip through. Abasaridze.
He's looking very solid so far, isn't he, Abasaridze? He's impressed me in the earlier games with his work rate, and you know, okay, they haven't managed to win any of those games, but he's a tireless worker at number 9.
And has the added responsibility today of taking over the captaincy from the injured Zed Ganidze. It was certainly a big loss to their side. But a promising half-back pairing this. He played many times with Jim Shaladze, who was their regular fly half. Here he is again, Abasaridze. And of course today with Kirikashvili doing well together. Good ball, well taken. I think Heine Bock came up there.
Great take. He took a clip round the ears for his trouble there with Schrader.
Yeah.
Just have a look, here he goes up. You just see a loose arm come through here, going up, competing for the ball, and with a slap in the face.
More than that, he might have been in real trouble. Still in the air.
Yeah, not really necessary, was it? Because he certainly wasn't playing at the ball. Let's have a look at the other angle here. Does well, good technique here. Gets up, he's turned his body. And we see the prop.
Zirikashvili was lucky, I think, wasn't he?
He certainly was. He's been busy, Zirikashvili, so far, hasn't he? He's carried the ball, he's appeared out wide, and now, again, good line-out play by the Georgians.
Quite highly regarded down at Clermont Auvergne as this young prop forward. He's only 23, Zirikashvili. Got a massive build. Now they're going. Tractors under full power. Oh, it's run out of gas suddenly.
Leasing did very well there, came right through the middle to disrupt that.
Well, they knew what was coming, Namibia, and they certainly prepared well with their limited resources without sounding patronising about it. Now it's Neuvenhuis. Good
strength to stay in field there. The attention of 2 Namibian defenders, but strong enough, and he had the awareness to turn back into the field of play. This is better structure.
Tinus du Plessis is in some bother there. Another Namibian with a knee strapped up. He's just standing off at the moment, not doing much to help. On drives Zirikashvili once more. And exactly what they're about here. It's old and tried and practiced. And it could spell 5 points in a moment. Still they go. Now the added impetus. They go right to the line here with Giogadze, but bravely held out again by Namibia. Well, this is exactly what we expected, and Abasaridze is just pointing his men as to what they're meant to do. He's shepherd looking after his sheep. The sheep are not yet in the pen. They might be now with Giogadze. There's the line. He's held up. He's not. It's given. He's made it right onto the line. The hooker finally got there. He's done it a few times before because that's his 12th try for Georgia, and I bet most of them have been like that.
Well, certainly look at the technique. You can be sure they've all been like that. He's a very powerful round the fringes, Giogadze. He does very well. The interesting thing to watch here is his body position. He carried the ball 3 or 4 times in the build-up to this try. This is the last piece. We're not going to see much of it here. Certainly not going to make that as we just see the ball come down. Referee in very good position to award the try. but he's got very good low body position there, good leg drive, difficult to stop there. As we see, the tackler's falling off him was Visser, the prop forward, and well, that's what it means, doesn't it?
Enormous. It means so much. And Giorgadze celebrates his 50th international. Quite sure what that was about, couldn't quite pick up with the echo what the referee was saying. And smiling Kashvili.
He's got to go and retrieve the ball.
Someone injured in that huddle, isn't there, Robbie? Or is
Yeah.
it just a team talk?
No, I think there's it's a bit of a team talk. There's a couple of the officials actually from the Namibian team who's actually amongst there and there with a medic, but just trying to gather confidence, I imagine, because that's quite a big blow for Namibia just before half time, of course.
Yeah, just over 2 minutes remain of this first period. As we've said so often, good time to score, go into the change rooms at half time on a high, confidence high, and I'm sure the pattern for the second half from Georgia's point of view will be much like that.
Yeah, it certainly will be. 11 points. If he kicks us 13 points, it's a very good. It's a big lead in these conditions, isn't it? It really is. It's difficult to see a way back into this one for Namibia at the moment, but funnier things have happened. And certainly if they can put pressure, beautiful kick again, Kashvili, but if they can put pressure on and cause some mistakes in the back three, that's got to be the goal of the Namibians. As we have a look here, very well taken try. Giorgadze supported by, well, the tractors. They rolled that one over very nicely, but it was good build-up work. It was patient. MISELET driving the thing from behind. Well played, Georgia.
Last minute to play of this half.
Tackle coming in there. Caught him high.
Jack Nieuwenhuis plays for a junior club in South Africa called Volki. Well, he's been in trouble already. He got a red card, didn't he, against France very early on in the tournament. It's in Namibia's second game.
It's for a similar tackle as well, wasn't it?
Yeah.
It didn't look too serious as the connection was made. Was that didn't look too serious? I think maybe trying to buy a yellow card here from the referee.
The number 8 is all right. Well, almost. Yeah. I've been impressed with this man, Kashvili, Merab Kashvili. He's only 23. He's already in his 23rd international, but doing good things at Po, I understand.
Yes, he has. He's selected up there. Well, they picked him out from a 4th division team in Po, of course, a famous name in French rugby. Who are now playing in the Pro 2 competition in France. He's done very well for them, and they're looking, speaking to the Director General at the weekend, Thierry Cleader, former French international. They're expecting big things from him this season.
Again, the same sort of pattern. Datunashvili, Zirakashvili. And they've got more like them in reserve, of course. Up comes Bok. All trouble here. Well, it's not cleanly gathered, but well played, Abusaridze. This is Zirakashvili. Seems to pop up all over the place. Very mobile prop. And 117 kilos of Georgian muscle to go along with it. Another who's been spotted and successfully in the French set, always coming all over the shop. They're coming in from all angles, aren't they?
They're certainly a bit to come in from the side. They're right in front of the referee.
Zirakashvili bottled up this time, can't offload, needs a lot of help.
He's done well, he's done well.
There's one of those little outside of the foot kicks, mark called, and safety first. Sped out by Vitboy, trying to get something moving before half time. And I think they've got to be enterprising. Didn't want that ball in touch, really. They just needed to keep momentum going, because it was inevitably the half-time whistle then in a half, well, inevitably dominated by the Georgian forwards. Occasional breakouts by Namibia. They've got to play it fast and loose. but 13-0, a fair reflection. 2 penalties, try conversion.
As we see the Georgians coming off here, it was a very good half by them. They'll be very happy with their work there. Tactically, I think they were spot on. Between the number 9, Abisaridze, and Kirikashvili, they controlled things very well.
Yes, and I think, you know, no surprise in it, is there, in it, because, you know, Ireland wasn't a fluke, was it? The way that they took one of the, you know, the top teams in world rugby to the wire.
No, it certainly wasn't. We can see the structure, the organisation is there. The guys, they worked very hard for each other. They've got a great spirit in this side, and that's worth a lot of points. It really is. Okay, maybe not so much on the scoreboard because they're difficult to score the points against the big teams, but certainly in keeping all your guys together and the guys willing to fight for that jersey and fight for the honour of playing for that country. That means an awful lot. And you know, we look at some of the top tier teams, and you really ask the question: do they go onto the field with that same desire to play for their country as what we're seeing from the likes of Georgia and Namibia?
And one man who must take some credit, alongside Malkas Cheshvili, the official coach, is the man who's come to them from Agen, Henri Broncon.
Well, without a doubt, he's again we know I've got reasonable knowledge of what's going on in the French rugby these days, living over here, and I can tell you Broncon is a guy who's got a fabulous reputation. He's won the Pro 2 competition I think 3 or 4 occasions as a coach. He's got a fabulous reputation as a guy, no nonsense coach, but spirit is the big thing. He did it with Auch, a small town in France, unfancied team, and they went through and dominated everyone in the Pro 2 competition last year. This year they're in top 14. He'd made his decision to go to Agen, thinking he was going to be in the top 14 with a very famous name club.
Back up.
Now he's got to get them back up, and a lot of people will say if that is the one coach who can get the teams up, because he builds the spirit, and you know he's renowned for his well, shall we say, caustic tongue in the changing rooms and things with referees. But no, I think this is evidence of his work with this Georgian side.
Well, there was the early attack by Irakli Giorgadze. They reverted to the more orthodox approach later, but did well here and set up the chance, and over the top went Namibia, and the penalty was to follow.
I think that's one of the only times Kiladze has passed the ball, hasn't it? Kishvali,
Yeah.
Is that one of the only times he has actually passed the ball tonight? And we're not going to see a spectacle. We knew that when we arrived at the stadium. It's for the weather, but you've got to play to the tactics. You have to adjust your game, and they've done it very, very well. And on the back of a powerful scrum like this, it's for Abisaridze as well, it makes for an easier ride, doesn't it?
One of the younger referees, seeing that close-up of him there, Steve Walsh, 35. He was touch judge in '99, refereed a couple of games in the last World Cup, and I think this New Zealander is doing quite a good job here in difficult conditions.
Well, difficult game to referee as well, isn't it? Because of guys coming in and from the sides and things like that. And all these referees, this is a major opportunity for these guys as well. Let's not forget that. And they want to showcase their abilities as well. And this game, I'm sure when he saw this one, I'm sure most referees would have thought, well, are we going to see an open running spectacle and all the rest of it, or are we going to see a lot of this? Players coming off the ground, players coming in from the side because their techniques aren't quite good enough. There's going to be a lot of mistakes. And unfortunately, that's the way it's panned out so far for him. But he's keeping a pretty good lid on things, because been a little bit testy at times, hasn't it?
Yes, it has, and yet he hasn't made it to stop-start, which it could have been. I should think he's used a little bit of licence, which I think it needed.
Yeah, certainly. You've got to get the referees have to, like the players, you've got to get a feel for the game very early on, and Walsh has shown that here tonight.
There's the national flag with the red rose window emblem. Oh, he was in trouble, wasn't he, Skinning there?
He was. It's this sort of tactic they've got to use. They've got to try and force the mistakes. The slippery ball, it is more difficult, Daniel, so put it in behind, put the decent kicks up with pressure. I'm sure that'll be the message in the Namibian changing room. And then cause just the disorganisation in the Georgian defence behind. maybe you kick through, you get a try. They need to score within the first 10 minutes so they really have a hope of getting back in this game. But Georgia at the moment controlling things very well.
Nice platform for the halfbacks, whereas Van Tonder and Schroeder have been, well, feeding off scraps really. But Schroeder had a good chance there to pull 3 points back, but it, I'm afraid, drifted away as Kasharava watched it with no doubt some relief.
This is the last, was one of the last bits going into the try. In fact, this is the scoring action of the try. But the build-up started a good 15, 20 metres out, didn't it? And they worked it well. They were very slow. They were very deliberate in what they did. That's what you have to be when you get close to the line. We've seen in the past a lot of these teams get very excited when they get too close to the line, but they slowed it down. They backed themselves, backed their technique. And Gilles Goddadzi was very strong there.
I tell you what I've been reading a lot of, because I haven't sort of been following them around very much, but they've been a very tight-knit outfit, very, I don't know, there's a tremendous team spirit, and they've had to put up with quite a lot, because they've gone from Lyon to Bordeaux, today, you know, here in Lens, and next time down in Marseille. It's a lot of travel around the country, and but they have this sort of great ethic of you know, the pride in the jersey, as much as any, if not more than many.
Well, it means so much in rugby. We've talked about this before, that the intangibles of rugby, that they still exist. That you need those things today, and it is the spirit, it is the ability to pull a team together from you know, from all corners, as the Georgians have done. They don't have the preparation like all these other teams, but they get there and they want to perform. They want to perform for each other.
Well, they've been doing that, and they are in sight of a first ever victory. And good to see this, because as Robbie Knott was saying earlier, very sensibly the local union, no doubt with the agreement of the IRB and the Rugby World Cup organisers, distributed quite a lot of tickets amongst the local school kids. Well, what better? What a sensible thing to do, because they were never going to fill this stadium. Obviously there isn't the support for Georgia and Namibia, though it's remarkable how many stadia have been filled for games that you wouldn't expect. But to get kids to come and see the game of rugby, maybe some for the first time, and to pick up the spirit and see the skills and the excitement that it can generate, terrific. And I applaud that, and it should happen much more often in many other different parts of the world. And I always find it disturbing to see a stadium that has so much empty space, when you know that crying out would be a lot of school kids, university students as well, who, if they had to pay €1 or nothing at all, would come along out of curiosity and maybe get hooked on the game.
No, I totally agree with you, and that's from that perspective, this World Cup in France has been outstanding, hasn't it? I think everywhere we go, everybody's talking about it. Sure, the French team have kick-started their effort again, which has got the French public back in behind it, and it's wonderful. The public really have embraced it in all corners of France, down the south. We've seen over in Bordeaux, we've seen the stadiums full everywhere. It really has been. It's been a fabulous occasion so far. I guess the only negative thing you'd have to say about it is, in all likelihood, France are going to be playing their quarter-final in Wales.
That just bugs me. It really does irritate me, much as it must the French players at this point.
Certainly.
Yeah, it's such a pity that games have to be in Scotland and Wales. No disrespect to the people of Scotland or Wales, but it really should have been entirely within France.
Nigel, can I just, have a little word about that? Because it goes back to '99 when the Rugby World Cup was in Wales, and a couple of the matches took place here in Lens and over in Stade de France. And I think it's like a Celtic deal. That was one of the deals that they had for France. So yeah, all right, yeah, it's not a good deal for the French, but I think that they thought that they would actually win the group. So I mean, they've only got themselves to blame to a certain extent.
Oh, I accept that entirely, and I think the mistake they made was assuming that Argentina would be a straightforward win. Well, it was never going to be that, given the calibre of the players who now make up the Argentine side, and that, as you say, was the stumbling block for them. They thought they would win the pool, and they ain't going to.
No, I wouldn't have thought so.
Are they?
Barring a miracle.
Well, 4 tries and no points at all for Argentina. It's 4 tries for Ireland, that is. It's the only way that they can qualify and push Argentina off the top.
Looks like the rain's eased off a bit now, hasn't it, Robbie?
You know, it has indeed. It's really strange here up at the Felix Bullock because you've got really dark clouds, you know, just hovering over. But the rain's eased up a little bit. The wind's died down. My umbrella's that's just covering me from this rain. It's just, you know, become quite static, which is a good thing. So, you know, maybe we'll see the conditions maybe help the players to move the ball around a little bit better and kick, you know, without getting perturbed by the wind. Good, it's a good sign.
And have you enjoyed the public transport system?
Oh, it's fantastic. It's always been really good in France. I mean, you know, the TGV, the trains, and the buses and everything, the metro, everything's worked clockwork. It really has, Nigel. That's you know, that's very good for the country.
Everyone is absolutely, you know, in awe of the way it all works so accurately, and so it's also clean and on time, and a lesson to many countries I can think of.
Well, Nigel, I was talking to Bob Simmons from a British television channel, the Welshman from Pembrokeshire, and he said, you know, well, my hired car broke down. It was a brand new car, clutch, you know, problem, you know, and basically I said, well, you should have taken public transport, mate.
Second half then, 40 minutes from a first ever win in the World Cup for Georgia. Can they hang on? Can they increase it from 13-0 over Namibia, who have that same target? Looks a little bit distant for them now, but you never know. And they have good early possession. They want to spin it wide. Some rather laboured passes, though. Clever kick through. They want to play the game down there too. And that's safely gathered.
Beautiful kick again, Kirikashvili.
Well, he's had a dream with his kicking out of hand, hasn't he?
It's been very, very impressive. I think, albeit we talk about playing second-tier rugby, this has been an outstanding international performance so far for me. In this, in the first 40 minutes, he controlled everything very well. And there he is again, covering the ground, one-hand pick up onto that left foot, and knocks it down there 50 metres. Well played.
So on comes Nico Esterhuizen, and the number 8 we saw with that knee trouble just before half-time has said, no, I can't go on further. So the tall figure from Stellenbosch, winning just his, well, I think it's about 6th cap. It's actually his, beg your pardon, it's his 8th cap. But this youngster, number 8, only 23, got a big chance now to do something for Namibia, wearing 19. Fantonda. That's fullback Urjikasvili. Chikayadze. Bok in trouble. Did that go forward? Referee playing advantage here. Inside from fullback Bok. Fantonda.
Exactly the same kick. It's good pressure though.
Took it that time. It's clearly a target.
Georgians happy to slow it down, restructure, get their kickers back in position and play for territory. Great hands again, Kirikashvili.
Off the deck. Screws it into touch.
Obvious change of tactics, isn't it? The first two balls they recovered, the Namibians, they put it straight back looking for this man, Skin, and he took that one nicely though. But that is obvious change in tactics from the halftime chat there in the dressing room. They've got to try something different.
Well played by Kazombiazi. Whacker, as they call him.
Again, going sideways again. They've got to hold this one now.
Now they do it.
Now they get it going forward.
No, it's a good effort. And they've kept on their feet and they've got momentum. Don't often see Georgia roll back like that. Fed away. Fantonda, Schroeder. Much better ball and a chip through by Fensale. Good cover, Urjikashvili. Oh, it's a some kick to follow as well. Quick throw-in. You've got to try it. Van Tonder. You've got to keep the thing mobile. They've got to try and run Georgia off the park when they can. Georgia will try and slow it all down, revert to type.
There's an excellent clearance kick there by Urakashvili from the back there. Huge kick as we've got, he's taken a blow to the nose here. I think that looks, yes, looks quite serious, Van Tonder.
Put your head back.
Right, our question is, the quick throw was the right option. They played it right, but he just ran into a brick wall. He was indecisive about what he was going to do. He had support out to the left, but he just said, no, I'm going to hold on to it. And here's the result. Oh, yes.
Yeah, right on the top of the shoulder joint.
He caught him there, didn't he?
I think he'll have to get that attended to.
Doesn't appear to be broken. He's not wincing when he's touching it, which is a good sign.
Had a few of those.
No, we know what those are like.
But they'll have to stop the blood flow. Jancis should come on here, I guess.
Yeah, there he is, just coming on now, in fact, Nigel.
That's the man. Real youngsters coming through from eastern suburbs. He plays his rugby. Oh, beautifully done. Absolutely beautifully done again. Well, he's the man of the match, isn't he?
Well, currently he is. It's
right now.
It's been a very good display from him so far.
An educated boot, I think we'd call it.
He's missed the one kick at goal, hasn't he? But apart from that, it's hard to think of any kicking mistakes he has made.
In a game of kicking significance. Again, Kozambiaze doing well, but not the follow-through. It's knocked out of his hands.
Okay. It's attention to basics, isn't it? It's just about doing the basics well. And they'd done well. They'd won the line-out. They'd done the hard work, and then it's just the first support player coming in, and it's knocked away so easily. And here we go, ideal attacking opportunity. Expect to see them to hit something around the middle of the park, and maybe it's time for a drop goal.
Better scrummage too. Good disruption by Namibia of that set piece for Georgia. Pick up though is by Gyogadze. Going in like an express train, the centre.
And they've got the advantage here, and he's going to blow it up now.
Yeah.
Over the top yet again, trying to rip the ball when you're on the ground. Once you're on the ground, you're out of the game. You've got no rights to play the ball whatsoever, but that's an experience thing. That really is. And this World Cup, well, it is about experience for Namibia, isn't it, yet again? You know, the Shorts, their second World Cup. But it is all about building and continue build and make the progression. But these sorts of mistakes here, as you see, going down, he's the tackler. He has got to release, but he's just rolled over thinking, no one's going to see me. Unfortunately, it's right in front of the referee. 3-point opportunity.
Merab Kvirikashvili. Just 23. And Skinning's been replaced. Not surprised. He's had his forgettable moments. This for 16-0. Important psychologically to get 3 scores ahead. It's a big cushion. Looks good. Close, I wonder. No, it was...
Well, he can't believe it either.
Almost over the top of that. Well, it's a difficult one to judge. You needed higher goalposts. I would... Yeah, we've no angle to judge, but clearly it wasn't. Neither flag went up. It stays 13-0.
It's interesting. Often watch the reaction of the kicker. He's the guy with the best view of it, and his reaction suggested that it went over.
Can't believe it's not over.
No.
Steve Walsh wants a ball to start with. Yeah, would help.
So Nigel, you got Baziki Kamashuridze, who plays
Excellent.
plays down in Cannes, who's come on to replace Shkinin.
He's been very strong, the right winger tonight, hasn't he, Mashikanelli?
Yes,
he's been very
has.
strong.
It's been a big force in their sevens squad. I know I often mention the sevens, but I see a lot of these smaller teams with their representatives there, and most of the runners in this side are, like Portugal, direct from their sevens squad.
Oh, again.
Oh my goodness, that guy's had a game too, hasn't
He
he?
certainly has.
Dato, they call him, David Zirakashvili.
Unfortunately, that time just bundled over the touchline, but he has been everywhere. He's
likes
showing
this.
up in the tight, he's in the loose.
Good brave tackle.
Good defence. At least seen the captain coming across there.
Fit boy. Yeah, he started out at Obernas, which again is quite junior, isn't it?
That's Federal 3 as well, and he was picked up there to go to Montferrand, I think about 3 or 4 seasons ago now. And that was, he signed there playing, they said, well, you can leave only if you go to the top 14 club, and sure enough, top 14.
There's Zirakashvili again.
He's a player with a very good reputation down in the southeast of France, playing in that second and in that third division level, which is very competitive. For those of you who don't really know the rugby in France, believe me, it's down in that third and fourth division, very, very competitive.
Well, I think they've got great medical support here. I think that was Dr. Helmut Fascher there coming on to help out with the injury problems. It's such a key element, of course, in the attention to detail that's given to these matches, the medical support at all times.
The Georgians just grinding them down at the moment, aren't they? That's putting pressure through. The Namibians are what ball they are recovering. They're under pressure. It's got to go into touch, and unfortunately, the kicking game not that strong tonight. They haven't been as accurate as they would have liked to be with their kicking game compared to the Georgian side, who have kicked very well in general play.
Not hurrying Georgia. I know they can just keep up this pace and pressure, then this long sought for victory will be theirs. Absaridze just treating his pack with contempt. Get over here, go there. But he's right, he's got to general the direction, keep them. Look at this, they're marching to glory here. And the Georgian supporters are loving it, Robbie.
Oh, they are. They're just behind me, and they're just, you know, it's. I can't translate what they're actually saying, Nigel, because I've forgotten how to speak Georgian. But
okay.
they are actually there, and they're really keen, motivated, and just, you know, encouraging their team to get over that try line once again.
Here they go. Once more, within 6-7 meters now. Similar pattern, but going left about rather than right about in the first half that produced the try. Up there in the van is still Giorgadze, the hooker. They do keep it low, don't they?
They do. They
stay on their feet usually.
Body positions are very good. They've impressed me with their body positions, but again, the Namibians are holding strong at the moment.
I don't think people may realise always, unless you've been in there, just how exhausting this is and how much, you know, it saps your energy.
Oh, certainly it does. If you're the defending side trying to defend against these guys, it's going to wear you down. We're not going to see evidence of that maybe for another 15 minutes or so, but certainly, okay, we've got the turnover here. Namibia dodge another bullet, but now they've got to pack down in the scrum. They work so hard to win this ball, and now look for Georgia to put real pressure on at this scrum.
So Udisiani is the man to add fresh legs, and of course at this point of the game, half an hour to go. Good move. These guys know that perhaps they're on for maybe 50, 60 minutes, some of them, so they can give that extra effort to that period of time, knowing they don't have to last out the full 80. And here we've got a bit of problem with one of the Namibian players, so it might be in the ribs.
Yeah, that looks sore, doesn't it?
Yeah, it does.
But in the close contact area like that, you're going to take knocks to all parts of the body, and the ribs can often be exposed, and with the players driving in low, the Georgians are really physical in their approach. Something can give at times.
And they in turn, of course, the Georgians have only got a 4-day recovery period before they play France, which ain't an easy prospect for them. Here's Johannes Redlinghuis.
It's another substitution for Namibia this time. It's that. Yeah, that's right. It's Redlinghuis. Sorry, you're already on the ball. Sorry, Nigel.
We've been on the ball all game, Robbie.
Yeah, all right.
Yanni de Toy.
This will be an interesting scrum. Georgians will look to put real pressure on here. Oh, Namibia holding well there, though.
Can they ride the storm here? Well played, Jantjies. Well, I thought it was going in touch. It wasn't so clever. So the counter-attack they have to face now. Perhaps more of the same. A little bit more enterprise from the newcomers. This is Udesian. Abasaridze, Kirikashvili, Kamasharidze. Strong he is. Another who's notched up his 50th cap in this World Cup. Well, there's certainly really the first time in the game that the scrum half and fly half have opted to bring the outside backs into play.
It's very scrappy though, isn't it?
It is rather. Udesiani again.
He's isolated here though. We do well to get this one back. No, he's got the support of arrived in time. And now we go back to set up this rolling maul. Or set up the maul structure, should I say. No, he's looped around this time. Kirikashvili coming short.
Offloaded well to Giorgadze, Abasaridze. Well, so
intelligent play, wasn't it? They lulled me into thinking they were setting up the maul yet again.
Looks as though they've sort of opted to be a little bit more adventurous. Can't believe they're really going for the 15-man game. Kamasharidze, though, trying to bang holes in the defence. Wait for this one, though. Shvelidze. Energy sapping, especially on the receiving end. The heads pile into your midriff, solar plexus, your ribs, your lactic acid builds up in your thigh muscles and calves, and you just want to get your hands on the ball or deny them the ball.
Well, they're retaining it very well, aren't they? Okay, they're going nowhere, but they are retaining the ball. It's been a long passage of play that they haven't made a mistake as yet.
But you would characterise this period of play as very Georgian.
You certainly would. You certainly would.
Well, about where they started, but they've just used up a few more minutes and they've worn down a few more Namibians.
Exactly. It was never going to be pretty, was it? It never was. But we've got 25 minutes left on the clock. They're deep inside the Namibian 22, and this is the way they put pressure on.
So the nose is better. Van Tonder's back on, and off goes Eugene Jantjies. Well, a bit more medical attention required. Not surprisingly, got to be some weary legs and bruised bodies.
Nigel, we've got two more Georgian players coming on. Kinchagashvili, the prop from Borguam, and the fly half, Bidzina Sankaradze. He places rugby in Romania, of course.
Yeah, Farrell Constantia.
The Namibian scrum really, they're putting the pressure on. Great defence.
Good defence, courageous defence.
Well, it is, their scrum is the one that's standing up to the pressure now. The Namibians are the ones applying the pressure. However, you just wonder where the points are going to come from. I mean, territorially, they're just unable to really get into the game at the moment. It's all been played down in their half. Very difficult to score tries from there, particularly with conditions as they are for handling tonight.
So the hooker off, Giogadze. Chakishvili replacing him. Hugo Horn. Good effort by Namibia here. Well, they've lasted the pace, I have to say, better up front than I anticipated.
Well, likewise, I mean, they've impressed me in the second half. But unfortunately, the game's just been played in the wrong part of the field for them at the moment. Georgia able, they've got every answer for them. That's a lovely clearance kick.
Super kick. Very well done here. Very simply executed. Good drive. Flip back feed to the scrum half in a moment. And the clearance.
You just wonder if there's a sense, a little bit of complacency coming into the Georgian side, don't you? They're not quite as concentrated at scrum time.
And they're still vulnerable, 13-0. You can't sit on that as a lead. And they look at the amount of territory, more than 3/4.
Oh dear.
Oh, big error. Picked up by Nieuwenhuis, and little chance here, crowd behind Namibia. And the winger did well to come in and put the pressure on. He took the gamble, did Machkanelli. And what's that for? He's gone. Quick.
Oh dear.
Not 10.
Dear, oh dear.
No. Actually, straight knock on. Well, it probably comes as a shock to some of the players to get a ball passed to them.
Right, I think so. But well, there's just no need to accelerate the play at this stage. This is I think the coaches will be pulling their hair over. That decision there to accelerate the play. No, it was to put it down there and just go back to your line out and set it up and drive it away again. But as it is, chance from Namibia to try and launch another attack.
Sense the crowd are wanting Namibia to. They always love the team behind, don't they, Robbie?
Well, they always go for the underdogs, of course. You know, the French are filling up the stadiums, you know, if they're not coming from the two countries. But yeah, they're getting behind Namibia. It's good to see. I mean, you know, they just need to string a few passes together, and then, you know, the crowds will make the fans will make the noise, I'm sure.
Well, one score and then Georgia will be on edge. And at the moment they can sort of coast along without any undue worries. But one score could be a different story. However, this might be...
Very long, ambitious kick he's taking on here. I was impressed with him, as I said, just watching him in his warm-ups earlier tonight. He was striking the ball beautifully, but 53 metres is that's a big effort for anyone. Has the wind freshened a little bit, Robbie? Is that why he may be taking this one on?
It's died down. I mean, it's dead at the moment, Simon. Yeah, so I mean, it's a logical decision. I mean, 53 metres, never an easy kick, but it's dead, so the conditions are ideal.
And 16 points. Well, that could be the killer blow for Namibia. Whilst they're within 2 scores, hope will still be there. 22 minutes to go. But this man might just hit another nail. Can he nail it? Mature player for just 23. He's hooked it. Short.
It was always going to be a big ass. Lovely clearance kick by Namibia. I think that was Bok who cleared that one away.
It's another change for Namibia. You've got Melrick Africa, the winger, coming on for
just have to, yeah, so they're going to have to restructure the back division. I think, well, I would like to have seen Van Zyl move in a bit. He was a good player, but I don't think he's touched the ball today.
You know, Nigel, they've had a few problems with their fly half position because obviously Losper was meant to be playing. He's got a hamstring dilemma, so he wasn't selected. So, you know, Hasselmann's been...
And he was really a fullback anyway, so they've had real troubles. Yeah, Emil Wessels was the big loss.
Interesting decision here, Namibia going for the line-out option. It was not straight by Georgia. They've gone for the line-out option, obviously feeling more confident that they can set their drive off that.
Ah, the great Serge Blanco. Been to a hatful of games and still one of my favourite players to watch, even if now it has to be on video or DVD. Oh, unlucky. Big challenge there by Nieuwenhuis. But actually, there's one of the Georgians down. Took a big bang there. Mashkanelli goes. Whistle does too.
He's back up on his feet, Nigel, actually. Oh, no, he's back down. I mean, he got a big slap in the face, Kamasharidze, with that challenge.
One of the recent replacements. Doesn't happen like that at Cannes Rugby Club, does it, where he plays? Or perhaps it does.
No, it's a lot worse.
It's a lot worse.
Believe me, I have taken it to coach a team down there, and they are stories that I'd rather not tell.
No,
they
quite.
really are something else. So we see the slap, and the touch judge is in on the report on this one. Well, he missed the one in the first half, but they've called this one up in the second half.
It's the captain, Kees Lensing, getting the explanation, and
well, he's not happy about it, is he?
No.
We just see here, just watch the loose arm come through here. There it is there,
Well,
just a clip around the ear again.
He's treading a dangerous path, isn't he? Because he's done it before. And knowing he'd already got a red card and suspension against France.
Wasn't that identical to the slap that we saw with the Georgian player in the first half?
Yeah.
Yes, it was, but unfortunately, the touch judges, they don't see it. It's difficult, isn't it, you know?
Yeah.
It's a tough one. That one was a bit more clear, I think, but you did right, Rob. It was exactly the same slap as the first half. One goes punished. How often do we see that? The other gets away with it.
Into the last 20 minutes. Oh, it's knocked on, fingertip touch on by Jack Nieuwenhuis.
I can
Now what?
announce now that we've got some blue sky.
It's behind the stand that we're sitting in. It must be coming your way. Our way even. 19 minutes. Rather fizzling out, I sense, here. Georgia may think they've got it won, but they don't want to count chickens too soon. Waka Kazombiazi. And a bit of possession for Namibia. Well, they start off going sideways and then they tend to straighten up. Got someone guiding it from the front here. He's being lifted out.
Of course you can't do it.
No.
He's going to pull that one up straight away.
For there's real trouble.
I think they'll be better advised going for the corner here. Try to get a good kick down there and try this line out again.
Much to the approval of the Georgian fans, I can tell you, just behind me. Disapproval, sorry.
So there was the problem. You can't be just hoisted up and floating in the air like that. Right, Namibia's chance here. Clean, quick ball. Oh, knocked himself backwards, Jack Berger. Tonda waits. Well, I think they should give. They've got good midfield players, Corny Powell and Pete van Zyl. Witboy, good runner in. They've not had a chance. So, maybe now. There you go. Half chance out wide. Good in feed pass. Didn't happen. And Langenhoven had come across. Now they've made a mess of it.
Great defence by the Georgian midfield. They drifted very quickly to snuffle that one out and force the turnover. Back to the left boot of the fullback. Nurikashvili clears away nicely. What little bit of territory the Namibians have had. They threatened momentarily, but great defence by the Georgians, you've got to say. Drifted very quickly. They're very tight, the 10, 12 and 13. They're holding a very tight line on the inside, and just, you do feel, you're quite right, if they can just get it outside that outside centre channel, there is space there. They covered that first attack well.
There's Gordon Powell. Came out as replacement for this World Cup, part of the 2003 World Cup. From quite a renowned sporting family. Two well-known rugby-playing brothers. It's a real tango, tussle, wrestle for the ball.
Bodies coming from everywhere, aren't they?
Yeah. There, Montondo. Oh dear. Langenhoven trying to secure possession again. Does well. Drive on by Kazumbiazi. Powell.
This is not really posing too many dangers to the Georgians because they're just working on ones and twos at the moment. They've got to try and do something a little bit more collectively if they want to break this defence down. And there it is, it's a turnover.
Away with Kinchikashvili.
Oh dear, again the mistake. They had huge numbers on the left.
Well, I know it's easy to be wise looking down from here, but the whole Georgian back division was up. You know, they had plenty of ball, over the top, chase, perhaps put a bit of height on it, get there when it lands, and they've not done it except once in the first half.
No, without a doubt. It's the only time they've really looked threatening, isn't it? From that one kick with a good kick chase, and that's a frustrating thing, I think, for the coaches. They haven't had time to put the systems that maybe they would like to put in place, and you need to have players to execute it as well. It's the other side. Let's not forget, we are talking a team of amateurs here. These guys work all day. There's no 3-month training preparation, no 3-month camps. Let's get ready for the World Cup and all the rest of it. No, it's limited time, very limited budget as well. Resources are limited, both playing numbers and medical staff and everything else to back up. And I think we're seeing, we're seeing the result of that here tonight.
Well, all credit to the Namibians for being thoroughly competitive. As Simon Malik says, 80% of the squad are virtually complete amateurs. It's gone forward.
That's a shame. It opened up on the inside, but you just see as he rolled round to give the pass back on the inside, as often as they want to front row forwards, they don't like to run too fast, so they tend to try and steal that yard, and there was a yard in front there. We'll just have a look here. Kirikashvili shifts it round, and there we have the swivel pass. If he had held his depth, he would have been fine.
Kamasharidze getting the return pass, he thought he'd got his moment of glory, and his try denied. And he's only ever scored one before in 50 internationals.
That tells you something, doesn't it, about a winger who scored one try in 50 internationals, about what style of rugby they're going to play.
I think we can expect some major celebrations for whichever team that wins tonight. It would be like as if they won the World Cup. Can you imagine at the end of the final whistle? I mean, if it goes Georgia's way, obviously, they're going to erupt, and the fans are going to go absolutely mental. So I can tell you that, Nigel.
Indeed, and this was what they'd always targeted. Namibia, only their second appearance in a World Cup, no wins. Well, they were going to go back with one, and it looks like they've got this one in the bag now. But Namibia, well, Land of the Brave is the national anthem, and I think they've been pretty brave for this bunch of amateurs, really, who have put together a very credible performance, not least starting with their opening game against Ireland when they scored 2 tries and 17 points against Ireland's 32.
Well, they won the hearts of everybody in that stadium that night, didn't they? As well as those who watched the game on television. We were privileged enough to be there, and with some occasion, the reception they got afterwards was outstanding, wasn't it?
They did indeed get the hearts and minds of the crowd. Oh, it's so spirited, and I think it was hard for them to follow that. I mean, they gave everything that night, absolutely everything, and they probably hadn't got a lot in store. But it was all there.
No, that night was there, but we've seen tonight this has been one game too far for them, hasn't it? And while the crowd are not happy with this decision, it is definitely the correct decision. Get outside that two-score buffer, and they're pretty comfortable as we see the players cramping up, and that's a sign of just of the fitness levels, isn't it? And we don't see that with the big teams, the players going down, cramping up. Again, it comes back to that physical preparation and having everything available.
And for Georgia, the more time, guaranteeing a win, of course, but the more time they can use up, they've got a big game coming up against a certain host nation.
That'll mean a lot to this Georgian team, with so many of them playing their rugby in France and not so many of them playing in the top 14. They don't get to play against these guys week in, week out. This is going to be huge. The guys from such as Kirikashvili here, it really is. It's a wonderful opportunity for him. And He's a player to me. Looks like he's really got a future that could comfortably see him playing in the top 14 in France.
Well, the message around the world now, I think for sure, that Georgia will have their first victory. And a lot of it owing not just to a resolute pack, but to Mirab Kvirikashvili, who's kicked them ahead and kicked them out of danger as well at the same time. A little run out too for Rivaz Gigori from Montluçon, another of the second flight clubs from which most of these Georgians play, but for whom, as Simon Manick says, some will be hoping to step up into top flight of the French Championship. Day done for the fullback Ojukashvili.
He's had a good night, hasn't he? He's played well.
Yeah. Georgia's top try scorer all time. Man has just gone off. 15 tries. Not quite as many as Howlett.
Probably doesn't have the same opportunities maybe as Duncan.
Yeah, that may come into it.
Lifting a service on the inside. As here we go, they've got numbers stacking up on the right hand side. They just can't clear it away from these breakdown areas. They've still got numbers on here.
Now they need to use quickly.
Great defence.
Great defence and away. Will he get his try at last? Mashkanelli. Well, he's worked hard for it, and he's proud of the jersey emblem. And his tackle was what made it. The Georgian supporters now can celebrate. And now for Namibians, sadly, it was a real half chance, but how well read it was by the winger coming in so fast.
Well, Mashkanelli does superbly well here. They had a 3-on-1 option against it. It was lined up on that left, on the right-hand side for the Namibians. Mashkanelli, we'll just have a look at it here. The ball's shipped through the hands. They've got it out wide. If we have a look here, 3-on-1, bang, in he steps with a huge hit, ball and all. Mashkanelli, in he goes under the post. The arm is raised, a kiss of the finger. He's a happy man, isn't he? Well done. Well done. He's played well tonight. Another one. There have been several players who have stood up, really carried the workload for this Georgian side. He's been one of them, mixing it with the big fellas as well. Well, he's no small player in his own mind, but he's certainly he's been in there in the tight stuff as well. So we see the conversion knocked over. 23-0 with 10 minutes to go. It's going to be a long 10 minutes for the Namibians.
Yeah, I think that will have taken the last resources out of them.
Just have a look here. Coming in from the blind spot, he's got his eye on the ball. So this pass is shipped on, bang, turns, and who's in his face but Mashkanelli, and away he goes. So 8-9 minutes to go here. We've got time blown off here by Steve Walsh. Can the Namibians finish this World Cup the way they started it? It'd be great to see them just nick a try.
Just to give them a real lift at the end. I've only ever met once before, these two sides, and Georgia won that time, 26-18. Well, I think the crowd here would settle for a 23-7 or even 23-5, just to put Namibia on the scoreboard. Injury to Kinchikashvili there. Well, it's been quite a war of attrition up front, and I still say all credit to Namibia for holding up as well as they have done. You know, it's front five where you have two players who've played some decent quality rugby, at Natal Sharks, Keith Lensing, but he's been around a long time, and Heino Senekal from Cornish Pirates, who are England's second division, or first division as they call it, but it's not the Premiership. And the other, you know, the others are from local clubs in Windhoek, where, you know, rugby is only a small number of people and a limited standard. 23-0, 8 minutes to go, and it's not an ordeal. They'll have loved it, the experience, but their final effort about to come to an end.
Yeah, certainly. You just feel the conditions didn't help them tonight, did it? That was from a neutral's viewpoint, that's a disappointing thing. It only played into Georgians' hands tonight, and they've ground them down. They've ground them down with a good kicking game in behind, but also a very powerful forward pack. who are able to pick and go, drive around the fringes of the ruck. Had we had a calm night, without the water on the field, without the slippery ball, I think that would have changed things a little bit more.
And in a way, isn't this what all the World Cup is all about? Because on comes a youngster, the final replacement, who, and I think I've got the stats right here, has never been capped before, and he plays for United in Windhoek, Domingo Kamonga. And he's 33, and this is his first cap for Namibia. Isn't that a fairy tale?
It certainly is. It'd be much nicer for him coming on in better circumstances, wouldn't it? But a fabulous occasion for any rugby player, the first time you pull on that international jersey. And to say you did it at the World Cup, well, that's outstanding, isn't it?
At age 33.
Age 33.
Nigel, can I just tell you that there's the attendance for tonight's match, 32,549, which I think is quite remarkable considering the weather has been absolutely dreadful.
Isn't that terrific? Well, it says an awful lot about the enthusiasm for this cup, and how I was reading a paper this morning, I think it was in the Figaro, about how France has taken rugby on board, and what a great example with a lot of troubles in the soccer world, as you know, and they're saying rugby is setting a lot of great examples, and particularly I think from the way that people who go to support it find it such a wonderful atmosphere and not gladiatorial between the rival fans in any shape or form, and it's so comfortable and family friendly.
Well, here we go, the crowd lifts, because we've just seen the best kick of the night from a Namibia player down to 5 metres from the touchline. They've got 6 minutes here to make something happen. First job, get the line out right, hit your jumper and structure them all.
33,000 here in Lens. Can they do something now? A fairy tale ending perhaps to this World Cup. The ball is taken. Georgia not going to give an inch, not going to give anything away. Bit of support comes in from Corn Powell. The drive is working. They're still going. 2 minutes to the line. Is there a fairy tale end in the offing? The ball is still there with Ridlinghuis. Still kept out. Georgia desperate to keep a clean sheet. Trying to drive Namibia into touch here in possession.
Referee playing advantage for an offence by the Georgians.
There's a penalty here. Away now. Van Tonda. No way through there though, with the block of Labadzi and Kwirakashvili. But a penalty still. Now that, oh, he's knocked it on.
Oh dear.
He has knocked it on. Oh my goodness. Over eager, overzealous, and well, I have a feeling it was Nieuwenhuis.
Yes, it was Nieuwenhuis. What was he thinking there? Just go to the line out, start again. The line out's working well. They had the ball well structured then, albeit the
Rush
Georgians.
of blood.
Well, yes, it is, isn't it?
Rush of blood to the head. And he gets that moment. He's still down on his haunches. Probably can't believe what he did now. I saw one of his teammates saying, "What on earth?"
Well, can they put pressure on this scrum now, or at least put pressure on the kicker to try and force the line out down in this area of the field?
5 minutes to go. Backs to the wall. Georgia for a change on their own line, and they are under pressure. Great scavenging, and it's Nieuwenhuis who's gone to make amends, I think, with Berger. And the squad have replaced. Charge down. Where's it gone? Oh, touching goal. Would you believe it? That could have gone anywhere. But the charge down was off the Namibian player, squirted right, touching goal. Unlucky.
Well, Georgia very lucky to escape this one here, as we see. Look at them ready to pounce up at any moment. Berger got up very well there.
Oh. Well, it could have stuck in the gut and it'd have been 5 points.
Exactly. But as it is, they're back down at halfway, and well, he's had everything roll his way tonight, Kwirakashvili.
Yes, hasn't he?
No, that wasn't. It was quite possibly the worst kick of the evening, and he's found touchdown at halfway.
When the sun's shining on you.
Well, take advantage, because it doesn't happen every day.
No. 3.5 minutes. Georgia 23, Namibia 0. Well, they've had 3 tries in this tournament, Namibia, but the crowd here supported them so well. Would love them to round it off with one more. Georgia equally, but they have another game to play as well. Once more, Mashkanelli and Giogori.
Well, good turnover force there. The defence still prepared to work hard for each other, and you'd expect nothing less. This is at 2.5 minutes to go on their World Cup campaign 2007. Can they finish it off with something for us all to take home tonight? The backline, they're spread out wide. You'd be sure they're going to try something out wide here. They're not going to try and just work it away around the fringes. They've got to attack out wide. Possibly their last attacking opportunity in this World Cup.
Well, they've conceded 29 tries in this World Cup. They've scored 3, but the last one will be the happiest moment of the lot. Almost again the same pattern, with Mashkanelli coming in early, and it's just a slowness in distribution that's well taken. Good pick up off the deck, and that was by the replacement, Kamonga.
Now they want to slow it down. They've got a penalty here. Oh no, flag is up. I thought he'd signal penalty. Well, it's really dying out now, this game, isn't it?
Yeah. New Zealander Steve Walsh, one of the youngest referees. The second youngest behind Wayne Barnes of England. But 2 referees who've covered themselves in a lot of credit in this tournament thus far. Just wish his shirt didn't clash. That's not his fault. One and a half minutes only, and Georgia just content to nullify, cancel out, keep Namibia at bay as they wait for their final test of France on Saturday. And no pushover, and I think that's the appropriate word for a Georgian side. Never a pushover.
No, they'll be highly motivated for that French game. It's a shame that they're coming off 4 days rest. I think that's the
that's tough, isn't it?
We could talk about the calendar and of certain teams through this tournament. It's been you see the happy faces in the Georgian camp.
Yeah, Coach Marcos Cheshvili there.
Probably no good.
But it has been tough on the second tier nations, because some of them have had really tough calendar.
Well,
3 games in 11 days.
Namibia 4 days ago had Argentina. That's not easy. And on the back of a bit of a hiding then, obviously. Oh, half chance, a last chance. Literally, we're into the 80th minute now. Melwick Africa. Crowd cheering them to the echo. In he comes again, Mashkanelli.
Great defence.
And Vitboy is felled in no uncertain terms. He's a powerful wing 3/4 in defence. My goodness, and runs well too. Fantonda now again. Oh no, a gift. Shows how you can score in the last moment. Kasharava's done so little this game, except finally to score and celebrate and wrap up a very happy day for Georgia. Davi Kasharava, his second try only for the 22-year-old, and it just shows never stop playing, never stop trying. It can come at the end in the most unlikely moment, and I'm afraid it was a gift from the Namibia.
Well, Kasharava, I think that's possibly the second time he's touched the ball in the game. And what a moment to do it. The final minute, the final act of the match. He steps out of the line. He's taken the risk to cut off the option for the Namibians to attack out wide. I don't think he could believe it. He's got the line in front of him. He had 40 to go. Lovely dive to finish with. Well, you touch the ball twice in the game. You score with one of them. It's a pretty good strike rate, isn't it? Well done, Georgia. Thoroughly deserving of this win tonight. The conversion to come to make it 30 points to 0.
It's a good score, and well, we weren't looking for Georgia to get bonus point. They're only 1 try short of it. But there you go. So does the final end. It is 30 points to 0. Celebrations for Georgia, delighted supporters. They have now won a match in Rugby World Cup Rugby. They've beaten brave Namibia here, 28 points to 0. correction, 30 points, I forgot the conversion. There they are, celebrating. Los Lelos have that long-awaited moment of history in their rugby anthem. 30 points to nil, a first Rugby World Cup win. Namibia, well, it wasn't to be. They couldn't match it quite up front, but they gave everything. The amateurs from the, well, I can say the ends of the world, from a very wild world in the southwest Africa, and they have put together a very creditable effort here. Not to be rewarded by a score tonight, but it could have been. Celebration.